Modern warfare sucks. And no, I'm not talking about the propaganda machine that is the Call of Duty franchise. I mean the real deal. Men and women shipped off to fight wars they had no hand in starting. I have to be honest, growing up, I used to like the idea of war, but not going to war. Definitely never, ever going to war. But playing a video game, I mean, heck yeah. Honestly, I really liked the Call of Duty franchise and Battlefield growing up. They were like sick little escapist power fantasies that were heavily grounded in a kind of realism that made them super appealing. I mean, I live in America, for crying out loud. I won't lie, I've always wanted to own my own gun. But as I've gotten older, I realized how much that interest was really more out of fear. Having a big gun in your hand feels like an easy way to feel safe, but guess what happens when you're thrust into a war you have no business fighting? All hell can break loose. When I think of the list of wars that were justified, the list isn't that long, but this is also because I'm not much of a history buff. But if I had to say, I'd think that stopping Hitler, Germany, and the other Axis powers in the world wars were probably pretty justifiable. After that, I don't know. And this movie makes that even clearer. Warfare depicts events during the Iraq War as a platoon of Navy SEALs recon an area to assist U.S. Marines. But honestly, this has to be one of the most realistic depictions of such a conflict, especially when I saw it in theaters. Random tangent, but I'm not super afraid of horror movies. There are definitely some that make me feel tense, but the worst moments are typically just cheap jump scares. In Warfare, I felt like I was witnessing a horror movie. The movie's only 95 minutes, but for the first 30, there's almost no action. But I couldn't help but feel afraid. This movie is dead silent outside of radio chatter and civilian bustle. The film also has no score, so the moments feel even more tense due to the foreboding nature of it all. Then, boom, all hell breaks loose. But even in a time of crisis, the men on screen are tasked with closely following the rules of engagement. It's hard to watch at times. Men get hurt, but the wounded cannot be abandoned. Radio chatter becomes erratic and deafening while bullets rain and jets blow past at blistering speeds overhead. Leadership fails and backup never comes soon enough. Civilians who are unnecessarily involved become liabilities. Soldiers make mistakes, some on accident, and some because they're literal jackasses. I felt so many emotions during this film. I was paralyzed in fear, to the point where I had to cover my ears to avoid the shock of the first engagement. I got frustrated and worried when backup for the SEALs couldn't arrive sooner. I was angry and confused at the lack of empathy displayed. I was watching a hellscape, and I couldn't help but feel that it was all so unnecessary.
I hope that when people watch this movie, that they understand how much we go through for each other.
The fact of the matter is, the war on terror should have never been fought. There's nothing just about dismantling a terrorist group by destabilizing entire nations, displacing millions, and killing hundreds of thousands of civilians. But more importantly, the moral failing of American leadership to needlessly risk the lives of brave men and women is truly disgraceful. I'm not naive enough to believe that there will be peace across the world in my lifetime, but I can at least hope that soldiers who risk their lives won't be abandoned by the politicians, bureaucrats, and decision makers who play chess with human lives from halfway around the world. The men in suits might not understand you, but when the rules of engagement are broken, it's not the soldiers who have failed. It's the system that sent them there.